If you have questions, concerns, and are just lost when it comes to planning for retirement, meet Steve Hoyl and Derrick Caldwell of the Hoyl Financial Group.
Now, guys, we talk about Roth conversions as a way to pay your taxes now and enjoy tax-free growth and withdrawals later. But is a conversion the right move for everybody? Morningstar's Christine Benz advises against trying to answer that question yourself.
If you're working with an advisor who is tax savvy, he or she can tell you how much you could reasonably convert each year to avoid bumping yourself into the next highest tax bracket. They should also be able to give you some advice about whether it even makes sense to convert. So if you're still earning a good salary and working, it oftentimes doesn't make sense to do those conversions, but the period just after retirement and before those required minimum distributions start, that is a really fruitful period to consider doing some conversions.
Guys, have you had people come in who try to do the conversion themselves? Talk to us about why this is not a DIY project.
Oh, man, it definitely is not. So this has happened a lot over the last 2 or 3 years. And I can't tell you how many times this has happened now. And because of the allure of like the tax-free income, tax-free growth and everything like that, we've seen people do it a lot on their own. And it can have catastrophic tax implications, guys. So when we look at Roth conversions, we look at your income now, your possible income later in retirement, taxation of the existing funds. I mean, this is not as simple as, hey, I'm just going to convert it all. And I'll tell you, this goes back into my days. I was at Bank of America. I had a client that came in and he said, Derrick, I was tired of having the monkey on my back, and the monkey being the government. And he says, I took $500,000 out of my IRA and converted it all at once. So I can tell you a number of ways why it's terrible, but he ended up paying 34% taxes on that upfront transaction. And he was in his 80s, guys. He didn't have a lot of time to grow that back and make it tax efficient. I hope he lived to 110, but we don't know that. So we have to work with what we do know. And I do know that those can be done terribly. And that is something you need to partner with somebody like myself and look at that, because most of the time, I'm talking about 99% of the time, guys, it's going to be a structured plan that we take out X amount of dollars as each year as we go along. It is not in a lot of people's best interest to convert large amounts at one time, and it's heavily dependent on your income right now. So don't think it's easy. Please don't, because there's a lot of analytics there. We even partner with accountants and everything to make sure that this is done in the most efficient way possible, because don't pay 34-40% taxes, guys. Come on. You're just giving the government way too much out of your pocket.
I don't know, though, Derrick. It's interesting. When the market was down last week a bunch, people should have used the discount dollars and paid some of those taxes and used that lower amount of money. What do you think?
Well, it also depends on where you invested. If you do that strategy, you have to then take a value of the dip, right, and reinvest it. Too many people take that Roth out and they put it in like a CD IRA at the bank, earning 2% and things like that. Guys, if tax-free growth sounds so good, but if you're getting 2% growth with that money afterwards, or 3%, your growth of tax-free money is very little. So it also depends on how you invest it, where you invest it, and you have to have a strategy for that. Otherwise, you're talking about 10, 15, 20 years to make back your money.
I agree with that.
Well, how are you helping clients decide when the timing is right for a conversion?
That all goes to Roth conversion strategies that we have in place. Those are all done in advance as part of our planning process. That the first thing we're going to identify is, do you have an opportunity to do Roth conversions? Because, guys, some people do not. Some people it's not a benefit for. So that's the first thing. And then also, how are we going to structure this out? When are you going to retire? Your income now, your pensions, all that stuff goes into play with that as part of our retirement plan that you set in place. And when we walk through that, we'll identify and tell you, hey, this is the most advantageous amount to take out this year. And we reevaluate that annually. And because it has to, because maybe your income changed, maybe you got a better job, maybe you had a big bonus that came up. So that is not it's not simple, guys. Absolutely. And you need somebody side by side with you, a partner, as you go through those to make sure you're not paying more than you need to in taxes.
Now, guys, the latest round of tariffs even the ones that have been delayed, have the economic forecasters in a bit of a depression. Goldman Sachs says there's a 45% chance we will see a recession this year. Moody's Analytics believes it's now a 40% chance. Here is a sample of talking heads on the financial networks.
Everything's kind of moving in the wrong direction. The orders contracting, employment contracting, and prices increasing.
Everything about this economy is good. Everything, except one thing. We have a president who's very angry at everyone, and his wrath has made investors so downcast and so negative that people have just given up.
I don't want to be alarmist. Like, this is not necessarily going to snowball into a recession in 6 months. But why would you be doing this in the first place?
So, guys, how do you answer that? What can we do to weather the storm?
I gotta love this stuff that's on there. It's like they're answering the question, but they're also backing it up in case they're wrong, right? I mean, these guys are great at that. You see, why are you doing this? Weather the storm. Well, guys, they don't know. Let's be honest. They do not know. And Goldman Sachs and Moody's, they have some great analytical people that do this, but it's a toss-up. If you ask them next week, it'll be 35 or 55. This is a constantly evolving economy, and the tariff situation continues to weigh on the market because the one thing the market does not like is uncertainty. It never does. So the back and forth thing that is going on with our administration right now with tariff situation, it's causing uncertainty. So there's people taking advantage of that in the markets currently. We're shifting things within our portfolios to take advantage of that because this latest dip in the market, it's something to take advantage of in a lot of cases, but also you need to have a proper plan in place in case it does pivot the other way. These people, and I say these people, but any commentators, guys, they work in absolutes because it is exciting. The recession's coming, 40%, the recession's coming. But it is not exciting when it's your money. We're talking about real life scenarios here and real life people, our whole retirement savings. So you need to have a plan in place. And I'll tell you how you know that. If this commentation you just heard causes you panic or worry, then you are in the wrong portfolio, guys. You should already have a plan in place where if we go into a recession, you're good. If we come out and we do have a strong, thriving economy, you're good. That's the difference between a great, diversified portfolio that is built to weather the storms in retirement in your 401k or your IRA, and it's just sitting there, guys. I mean, the static 60-40 portfolio that people have been using for 20, 30 years now is obsolete. You got to stop using that kind of thing. You got to start getting advice from people that know what they're doing. I tell everybody this same kind of thing is the other day I had a plumber come in and he was saying, well, I don't know what questions to ask. I'm a little nervous because I'm not a finance guy. And I turned around and said, John, I'm not a plumber, buddy. Like it's like you're calling me for plumbing advice. I'm going to tell you, no, you need to go see a plumber. And it's the same thing. If you need financial advice, you need to partner with a team of people that know what they're talking about, that have been in business for 34 years and have a long track record of very successful, happy clients.
But Derrick, I think I'll take it one step further. To experience the Hoyl difference, when the market was so crazy, when all the tariffs were first announced and we had a total week of craziness, none of our clients called Casey because they had a plan. Derrick had told them exactly, to stay the course. They knew we were on top of it and they weren't worried. So if you have the Hoyl difference on your side, it's that added peace of mind you get each and every day about your retirement future. Derrick, it was really interesting. A couple of weeks ago, you talked about emotions in the market. Explain that to us again, please, sir.
Well, guys, plain simple fact, the stories we hear over the years, we're in a bad spot because we hear all the bad stuff, right? And it's one of those things that several people that we've taken on as clients have made some poor decisions based upon emotions. And emotions have ruined more retirements in this country than the market ever has. Even today, this market is quadrupled in the last 20 years. So if you had stayed in the market, guys, you should have more money than you had in 2008. No qualms about it. 2008 is a huge indicator, 2022, of the emotions that go into retirement because we've heard so many times that I just put everything into cash. I took $500,000 out of the market in 2008 and I sat on it because I was worried about the economy. Well, that's somebody that doesn't have an advisor that's there to help them. I'll tell you that right now. It will ruin your retirement by letting your emotions get in the way. So partner with somebody that can take the emotions out of retirement for you.
Now, guys, the number of states that have reintroduced a once lost art of writing continues to grow. Schools in 24 states are now requiring students to learn how to write in cursive. But the fact remains that most schools do not teach this anymore. Now, we know that things have also changed when it comes to retirement planning. So can you guys talk to us about how it's quote unquote not your grandparents' retirement anymore?
I think it boils down to the difference of people are going to be in retirement much longer than they ever worked in their career, 30, 35, up to 40 years. So you have to have a stable long-term plan to get that in retirement and get that money all the way through retirement. Derrick, don't you think it's about having that plan?
Well, yeah, absolutely, Steve, because people are living longer and you didn't have to factor in as much on long-term care, life insurance needs, things like that. That they used to in retirement planning and everything. So, I mean, guys, the average couple between medical expenses and long-term care needs will spend $300,000 by the time they retire and they pass away. So where are you getting that money from, right? That's a conversation that you need to have. Absolutely. $300,000 doesn't, grow on trees, guys. This is it's something that you got to allocate for. And we used to look at planning at 90 years old. And I recently changed to planning to 100 years old.
Wow.
Because, guys, I have a responsibility. We can't have our clients working at Walmart at 90 years old or eating beanie weenies, in retirement. So it's a big deal to plan that out, and there used to be another rule is the rule of 1 million, right? That was if you have $1 million, guys, don't even worry about it. You're good. Yeah. That there's no number now, guys. There is how much income you need, how much expenses, big trips, things you want to do. You want to plan for grandkids' retirement, long-term care. There's 10 things right off the back that we could talk about that could impact how much money you need in retirement. And so planning today has never been more important than it is today. Is sitting down with somebody that could put that in place because, you hear all these rules, Steve. I mean, we've heard the $1 million one from 100 people a year. And it's something that is very, very outdated. And that accompanied with social media and all these people out there throwing things at you that may or may not fit your lifestyle. And, that's honestly, social media is very irresponsible with finances, but that's another story for another day. It's taking advantage and taking a hold of your retirement because that whole hope thing isn't going to work, guys. I'll just guess and I'll take out X amount of dollars and see how it goes. That's not going to work.
But Derrick, I think one of the things that's really affecting people hard right now is, they're having huge fluctuations because they don't even know about the rule of 100. And what the rule of 100 basically says is take your age, subtract it from 100, and you should have no more than that if you're the riskiest investor. Not, what kind of how much risk can you afford? So let's just say you're 60 years old, the rule of 100. You should have no more than 40% of your money at risk. I mean, that's your 401k, all of your money. And, we see people come all the time and they have 98% of their money in the market and they're within 24 months of retiring. Houston, we've got a huge problem.
Can you guys talk a little bit more about how retirement income strategies have evolved to keep up with these longer lifespans that we're talking about?
Absolutely. So there is a lot of different things. Annuities are one of them. We talked about that. And kicking in the other income streams, your Roth is a great addition to the retirement plan as well. I use Roth a lot of times for big purchases. Our clients, maybe they need a car down the road. Well, that's tax-free income. So you don't want to take out $30,000, $40,000 and buy a new car, and all of a sudden you're paying 24 or 30% taxes when you can get away from that. So there's a lot of advantages with Roth as well as annuities on boosting your income and making sure that we keep up with that almighty silent killer of inflation, right? That's something that's impacted us the last couple of years that a lot of people haven't experienced, especially younger people that didn't live through the 70s and 80s where there was, 15% inflation. So that is something that will occur in the next 30 years of retirement. There will be a higher inflationary environment than what we have right now. So don't get used to how everything is or how it was before 2020, because it'll up and down. Your cost of goods, you see this tariff situation that could increase some of the spending that we're doing on a retail level for sure, as well as building houses. You have to think about those things, guys, but it's not your job to think about those things. That's your advisor. Like I said before, that your job, you're great at your job, whether you're an accountant, whether you're a doctor, whatever it may be, and partner with somebody who's really good at their job that can take that load off of you to think about all these things that we're talking about here is, super important, guys. You can't just not do anything, because that's the worst. Being stagnant and just sitting there. You got to take a hold of your retirement and make sure that these processes, these new products, things like that come out for your retirement, that you're maximizing them. The old way of doing things is long gone.
If you'd like to sit down with Steve and Derrick or a member of the Hoyl Financial Group, visit retiretexasstyle.com.
Investment advice offered through Hoyl Wealth Management, a Texas-registered investment advisor able to provide investment advice in states where it's registered, exempt, or excluded from registration. Content contained herein should not be construed as an offer or solicitation for investment advice or for the purchase or sale of any security, insurance, or other investment product. Investments involve the risk of loss, including possible loss of principal. Please consult with a qualified financial, tax, accounting, or legal professional before implementing any ideas or strategies discussed here. Content provided is obtained from sources believed to be reliable but cannot be guaranteed as to its accuracy or completeness. By contacting us, you may be provided with information about insurance products, including annuities offered through Steve Hoyl, Texas Insurance License 716036. Annuity guarantees rely on the financial strength and claims-paying ability of the issuing insurance company. Read your contract for restrictions, limitations, or penalties. Steve Hoyl is not licensed in all 50 states. To find out if Steve Hoyl is licensed in your state, please call 806-371-9473.